All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 16 of the Dunk Dynasty Podcast. The lads, we're back in action giving you another episode this week. Myself, Panache Yashanu, Jed Mitchell, and Trigger Trey Mitchell. Missing Ethan McDonald, hungover. Probably should have got arrested last night. We don't know what he was up to, but yeah, he's not in action, not in action today. So just a trio, the big three is here, not the quad four. Fellas, what's up? What's up, Jed? How's things down there in the south of New Zealand, Christchurch?
I don't know, but every week I'm just hurt that I don't have a nickname yet. That's what plays on my mind. You go Eddie Mac, Trigger Trey, and it's Jim Mitchell. Have you seen that? Is it that? What's that commercial? Is it the Foot Locker or the Nike commercial?
Yeah.
It's like Kevin Durant. You know, like the one guy who does the nickname. That's who I feel like, right?
Oh, okay, that's
KD.
pretty harsh. I've known you for how long? We still haven't got you one. It's just always been Jay Mitchell. It's just your name is one syllable, so there's no
Yeah.
point. I mean, Trey's one syllable too, but
Well,
it just feels like
yeah.
Trigger Trey came naturally.
It could be worse. You could be asked like Jordan Clarkson. Yeah. How do you spell your name?
Jordan, like everyone else.
Or KD, whatever the KD. Oh, why is he called KD?
It's like, well, when David Letterman asked away, I was like, David Letterman, stop! Don't ever do that again.
I reckon he was reaching. Like David Letterman's low key a little bit. Like he's crack up.
Yeah, I like him. He's good. He was probably blazed up as well, but that's all right. How's things over there, Trey, and the Ranger, toe ringer?
In the ring.
Yeah, in the Ranger.
Been sunny ringer, eh?
Orange Ranger. You love to see it. I actually don't know.
Another weekend in the paradise.
Another day in paradise. I love that TikTok. Always nice little throwback. Lots of stuff going on in the NBA, fellas. It's been nice and hectic. We just came off probably a few people who watched the Lakers Warriors game know it's probably probably the worst ending to a game ever. The last 2 minutes took almost half an hour to be played. But lots of other action happening, getting into the last 2 weeks of actually, no, more than that, 4 weeks of the season. So action starting to heat up. The seeds are changing consistently day to day. For example, the Kings are now in the play-in spot. The number 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed in the West is interesting. Over in the East as well. That everything's just going. It's chaotic every single day. But we're here to update you, catch you up, the big storylines, what's happening in the NBA. Dunk Dynasty, as I said last episode, back in action. First things first, fellas. Some teams have been going under the radar lately, which I think has been a little bit unfair because you always have the teams I talked about, the Lakers, then you've got obviously the Nuggets with Jokic, all these other teams up top, the Bucks, some teams flying under the radar, the Pelicans and the Orlando Magic, both actually in the 5th seed, both with the number 1 pick on their team that's actually starting to shine, mold into their own. What's your thoughts? Who do you think out of these two teams actually is doing better right now and has the better opportunity to do better in the playoffs? And what do you think the realistic expectation is for them? I know, Jed, you're a big fan, or were a big fan of Brandon Ingram. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, the Pelicans are probably actually where they're supposed to be. And as I mentioned last week, Zion Williams, he's only missed like 6 games this year. It's crazy. That was my bold season or preseason prediction, was that Zion Williams was going to play enough games to qualify for awards, and he's kind of well and truly done that at this point. I don't know what team has the highest ceiling. I think it's way too early for the Magic. Magic's pretty good defensively. They kind of struggle when Franz or Pablo's out, but yeah, I know. I see like at best second round exit for both teams. It's just I think they want to build on this going into next year, just find more consistency. But if I had to pick a team that I'm higher on, it would be the Pelicans, just because when CJ's healthy, when Brandon Ingram's healthy, when Zion's healthy, they're pretty scary.
Yeah, Zion's been playing pretty well recently too, and they've won a couple of big games, and they could be an underdog going into the playoffs. I think for sure. They could make the second round.
Are they a team you wouldn't want to face? Like just because they're kind of a bit of an unknown what their ceiling is, or like how well they can play. Like they've had some big games and they've been some good teams. Like I feel like we know what the Kings are. The Kings play really good against good teams, but then you're not really scared of them because consistency eludes them. But the Pelicans are a team that's still finding their footing, and sometimes those teams that are finding their footing, like the Timberwolves last year, were really good for what they they didn't really achieve much in the playoffs last year, but I think they shocked everyone with how much they could do.
If I'm any team in the West, the teams I want to play are the Thunder and the Kings.
Yeah, I'd
Just
say I agree so. But looking at the Pelicans, I think looking back at that, I think was it 2021 or 2022, or actually probably being 2021, the season the Bucks won the championship, where they played the Suns in the first or second round. That was probably at their point. They didn't have Zion for that series, but even in that series, they gave the Suns some tough games in there. And I feel like they've kind of struggled over these last 2 seasons to have consistency and have everyone healthy come playoff time. This is the first time I'd say since 2021 that they've had everyone ready to go. And the way that Zion's been playing way more aggressive, they're allowing him to be a point forward. I think he's been playing. This is the Zion, probably his best season since that season when he was an All-Star, averaging 27 points a game. That season, this season a little bit lower, but the impact has still felt like it's been the same as when he was scoring that many points. And going into this last stretch of the season, I think what's actually helped them this little patch here is that CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson are all on the court. Trey Murphy's there. Herb Jones is there. Everyone's actually getting, finally, all of them are healthy at the same time, getting the ability to play with each other consistently. We're seeing the results. 7-3 over their last 10 games. And I think going to this last stretch of the season, fingers crossed, I hope they can just stay healthy, because if they go into that first playoff series first round, right now they're projected to play the Clippers, or sorry, the standings say they'll play the Clippers. Could change, but I don't think you want to see them. That's a tough series, especially if Zion's going to keep playing the way he's playing.
Yeah, that's an interesting series, really, because that's the two teams that, like, if they find their stride, their ceiling's quite high. I'd back the Clippers still in that series, but like it'd be a tough series for the Clippers.
The crowd of the Pelicans would be hard to beat, because Zion brings a lot of energy to the crowd when he plays with all those highlight reels and stuff.
Yeah,
the Clippers.
Speaking of that, I was gonna say, like, just wild though for Zion, because if you think about it, at the start of the season, it was just going to be a season full with controversy with his baby mama, and like all that other drama. Like, it's just wild that this is probably the one thing that's the most unpredictable about this season. Is Zion's gone under the radar in a year where he's had so much drama off the court.
I think that's almost helped him. The ability, like, he had that big, all the offseason felt like it was dominated with that Zion headline with the old star, not the NBA superstar, but some sort of star. But yeah, it felt like all that the whole season that was going to be lingering. Then at the beginning of the season with the weight issues, Stephen A. Smith saying that when he goes to restaurants he eats the table, all that kind of stuff. I've been forced to eat my words as well, because I said that in that in-season tournament game against the Lakers, he just looked completely overweight, and I didn't know if he could, bring himself back to where he was. I've eaten my words. I'll admit that. I've been proven wrong. He's done more than just, turn himself around. He's turned the whole team around, really, which has been helped by, like I said before, everyone coming back, being healthy.
He might be the Weight Watchers ambassador now.
Yeah.
I know.
Crazy though. You think about it, Father Time is undefeated in the NBA, but I swear being called fat is like 0-3. Like, James Harden, trims down. Jokic turns into a god, and now Zion gets the allegations, and he's beating them. Like, Father Time's undefeated, but fat shaming. It doesn't have a good winning record in the NBA.
Maybe fat shaming is sometimes
maybe it's not okay.
Results.
Maybe it's not okay.
Raymond Felton was like the fattest point guard in the league.
Yeah, but he wasn't the fattest person. I think it was still Kendrick Perkins in 2018 when he was on the Pelicans.
Crazy. You say those two players, they have pretty good careers.
Yeah. But what I will say though about Zion is I'm still just long term. I like what he's doing this season, but long term going, I don't like the style of play that's still he's playing with, in the sense of it's a lot of go downhill. I love go downhill. Obviously, you can't be stopped, but I just want to see a little bit more evolution, more allow him the ability to be a better jump shooter, actually apply that in the game. If he's doing it on the court during practice, all that stuff, bring that to the game, because my one fear with him is that he can end up turning into like a Sean Kemp, where it's all athleticism based basketball. Blake Griffin was on that trajectory of being athleticism based. Then he developed that jump shot. He's probably the guy over the last 10 years, I'd say, is closest to Zion. Well, not there's other people, but one of those guys who's super athletic, developed a jump shot. I would like for Zion to, early in his career, especially, develop that jump shot, because athleticism will wane. If you can develop that early, you can bring that on later in your career. Because I want to see him be a guy that's in here until 35, 36, not a guy that's six man off the bench because the athleticism goes. So jump shot, please. He's showing he can do it. First NBA bucket was a jump shot. So please go back up.
Keep
shooting.
The best shooting game of his career was his first game. Yeah, just crazy. That was an insane game, insane debut. Here's a hot take for you: Zion All-Star starter next season.
Over who?
Who's in the West?
Okay, hear me out. For the reason that he's kind of like selling it now by going, okay, if I'm in the All-Star game, I'll do the dunk contest. Do you know how many people are going to vote for him? Like, I feel like he'll just be the guy you whack on the ballot. And like if all he has to do then, if he's one of the lead vote getters, like he could sneak in. I'm just saying, like
it's actually a shout.
Bro, his agent or whoever told him to do that, that's a good call. That's a good call.
I think that's probably the
contract day, like Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
I think it could be the same as Ja Morant, because if Ja comes back next season, I think he could pull the same stunt of, if I'm an all-star starter, I'll do the dunk contest. It won't be the same hype, though. It won't be the same hype.
Yeah, I don't think he'd beat out Shea or Luka or Steph Curry as well.
Oh, and then what's his name? Anthony Edwards is coming through too. That's
true.
Yeah, that's a storyline.
Especially once the Wolves trade Cat in the off season.
Yeah, we'll see if that. But on the other side, the East, the Magic also, they've been under the radar a little bit. I feel because everyone on both sides, it comes down to media. All of us as fans, we pay attention to those guys up top, but we keep forgetting about same thing as the Pelicans in the West. In the East, the Magic, Paolo Banchero leading them. Franz Wagner's in that team as well. I think CJ Mosley just got a new contract extension this week, just gone another 4 years. One of the best defenses in the league. And I feel like they're still a little bit slept on, maybe because obviously they're young. People obviously don't think that this is their championship time, but they can give someone a big, run for their money in that first round. So what's your thoughts on that? I know, Trey, you're a bit of a Magic lover, aren't you? You love Magic. Just like Ethan's best joke that he always gave us. What do you call a magician who lost his magic? Ian, dry. Don't ever say that again in your life. Don't ever say that again in your life, Ethan.
I laughed a second time.
But the Magic were my underdog team going into the season. Like, I was pretty high on them. Yeah, they just play like fun basketball way. They're pretty good to watch. Paolo's coming through. He's an all-star now. Franz, he's like the Jaylen Brown to the Jason Tatum, pretty much.
Interesting comparison, but
Well, are they not?
Yeah.
I think Franz is pretty good. At the start of the season, I thought Franz was better than Paolo, but I think they're a good team. They play a lot of energy basketball.
Oh, yeah.
The crazy thing you got to remember, Paolo's it's his second year in the NBA.
It feels like he's been there for so long. He is built like a guy who's been there for 5-6 years. He's strong, man.
Imagine if they took Jabari Smith Jr. first.
Oh Lord, they would be in poverty right now. My goodness, I love Paolo's game, man. He's very. I think he's still trying to evolve his jump shot, which I like. What I like about him compared to Zion is that he's shooting it early, even though he's not hitting it at the rate. I like that he's still trying. I feel like the shot will come. At worst, he's still going to have the ability to post up guys. He's able to take guys off the dribble. Oh, Lord. I think Paolo's got a lot of potential going forward. He's one of the players who I like, that he's in that little echelon. The problem is he's not where these other guys like Ant Edwards, SGA, those guys are tier 1, tier A. I think he's probably he was at tier C. I think he's risen into tier B this season. And I think he just needs a season, maybe next season, where he can average 25 points, give us 8, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and that's when I think he'll enter that sort of tier with those other guys. But he's shown the ability. He can score well. That team as a whole, they can defend well. And I think in the first round right now, they're fourth. So who are they? Also, they're fifth. So first round, you're looking to match up with the Knicks. With no Randall, that's winnable. That's low-key winnable, especially with their defense. It'd probably be a low-scoring series.
Yeah, it'd be like a 90s, 80s level series, like just absolute ridiculous scorelines.
I honestly, with the way the Knicks have been playing lately, I could see them beating the Knicks.
Jalen Brunson, back-to-back 40-point games for the Knicks?
Yeah, they need to carry them on their back. Everyone else sucks.
Yeah. They've got OG back now though. But one thing on the there's like names that you didn't mention for the Magic. You've got like the likes of Wendell Carter, who's probably missed a lot of games this season. Markel Fultz missed a lot of games this season. But also you've got Jonathan Isaac, who's actually back healthy. And that's crazy. That's like, for a very good defensive team, to bring a defensive player like that off the bench is huge. I know you laugh at that a little bit, but like don't sleep on him.
He's still a good player. Yeah, I'll give you that.
How much impact can you make when you're only playing 15 minutes a game?
But like, if you think about it from like an efficiency standpoint, if like, it's just a stupid thing to say, but like his 36-minute stats are just ridiculous. Because when he comes on, he'll give you a steal, a block, an assist, a missed 3-pointer.
Yeah, but that's because he's got that much more energy than everyone else that plays 36 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of players who come on and they would have that exact amount, but they just couldn't impact the game the way he can impact the game in a short amount of time. He's someone you put in the game and stuff's going to happen kind of thing. He's only going to get 15 minutes and his efficiency would drop with more time, 100%. But there's not many players who you give them 15 minutes and they're going to actually night in, night out make things happen.
Yeah, that's what you need though. Like those sort of small, that 1%. If you can get a 1% of your opposition, when these other guys come in, these bench guys come in, especially come playoff time, it makes a massive difference. So on the stat sheet, obviously Jonathan Isaac can come in, and on the stat sheet you see, he played 13 minutes, but he gave you 5 points, 3 rebounds, a block, and a steal. That little increment there, that's the difference between Paolo going off and them, being outscored by 10 points, or Paolo going off and it's still a tie game when he comes back on, or they're ahead when he comes back on. There's those small little margins really there. And the one thing about the Magic is they've got a decent amount of depth. That first round series, I really think if Julius Randle, even though I've roasted him for not being very good in the playoffs, if Julius Randle's not there and it's just Brunson, the way that the Magic play defense, right now, with no Randle, I'll take the Magic to win that first round series.
Yeah, and so just on the Jonathan Isaac thing real quickly, in 15 minutes per game, he's averaging 6.5 points, 1.2 blocks, 4.3 rebounds, and almost a steal a game. So
that's winning. That's winning. Yeah,
that's winning kind of stuff. 1.2 blocks per game in 15 minutes is pretty elite for a small forward as well.
That's probably like top 20.
You take that. Take that, and that's the thing. Like you gotta. Some players aren't you're not going to be a superstar, but if you can come in and do something like that, minimum time, major impact. That's what you need. So if you had to pick out of the two, I would say between the Pelicans and the Magic, purely because right now, just based off where it's sitting right now, I would say my expectations for the Magic are, I think they'll probably go out in the first round, but I think they can beat the Knicks. I think they can make it a second round, but I'll commit. I'll say they can make it to the second round. So I think they've got a better expectations or better future this season at least than the Pelicans. How about you?
Yeah. I want to say Pelicans just because I feel like that unknown aspect for me and how good and how consistent their top players can be. It's just something that's a draw card. I think we're a year away on the Magic, but the Magic next year I think can make a run for the top 3 seed. I think that'll be their goal next year.
Yeah, but like the Kings, like last year, what did they finish like second seed?
Face the Warriors first round.
Yeah. Could hopefully not the same sort of outcome in the playoffs as the Kings last year, but. Wow. Yeah, the Magic have got a good core going, going into the future.
It'll be nice to see. Both teams, it'll be nice to see both with major potential. But looking at some teams this season, at least, that have played well for probably the 2 out of 3 best teams from December up until about mid-February before the All-Star break was the Cavs and the Clippers, who are amongst some of the teams who recently have been struggling a little bit. Cavs struggling to get a little bit of consistency there. Donovan Mitchell went out with the knee injury. They've had Mobley miss some games. Garland was out for a long time with a broken jaw. The Clippers had Zubats go out. They've had PG. He's been in a slump, had the knee injury as well. Harden missed games on and off. Kawhi Leonard had back spasms that he splayed through. I don't know if I mentioned Zubats just before. Also missed time. But they have just feels like they're collapsing. They're still in good seeds. Clippers are 4th, Cavs are 3rd, but seems like they're collapsed. What's your thoughts on both teams? Who do you think is facing the bigger dilemma? What's your thoughts there? Because I know you're a big hater. You're a big hater of James Harden. One of you is. I'm not. I love James Harden.
Yeah, nah, stuff the Clippers, eh?
Yeah, it was you. See, that's who I was talking about. I thought he would be able to get the memo.
No, I'm more of a hater on the Paul George. Just how Ethan talks up Paul George like he's this and that. Mate, he can't do it. He can't do it on his own. He definitely can't do it on his own. I think they're missing Russell Westbrook a bit. Kawhi's back. The Cavs, they're absolutely nothing without Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's value on a team is actually a lot more than I think anyone's ever realised before in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. I think exactly what we expected to happen with the Cavs. So I always thought at the time when they were streaking, I was like, it's just been a perfect recipe. They had the right players go at the right time. They found a bit of an identity. And then when all the players came back, the wheels started to fall off. And then they've had some injuries and the wheels have fallen off even more. I think, they're just a team that needs to make up their mind long-term what they want to do. I don't really buy them having deep playoff success with the team that they have now. I think they'll always, with the team that they have now, they'll probably thread in the second round. Well, they'll be a nice solid team in the second round every year, but I don't think they're going to thread in the conference finals at all. I believe in the Heat year in, year out way more than this team. Donovan Mitchell as a bucket, but he's also a chucker. And like when he reverts to hero ball, it doesn't really look pretty for this team. And then when Mobley's out there with Allen, it can get a bit clunky. This team really needs to find an identity and run with it. But yeah, as you mentioned, P, they need to probably look at the players they have and probably get rid of some of the successes they had in the draft and move on from them and stick with the core of the likes of Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen. But they're going to have to make those decisions. And the Clippers, we talked about them last week. Ethan voiced his displeasure with the current state of the team. And PG's looking like PJ out there. So maybe he's going to ask off the team soon. But it's like two teams that I feel like both of our eyes right now are getting droopy, or all of our eyes are getting droopy right now. I couldn't care less about the Cavs. I have a little bit of a soft spot for the Clippers, but I just could not care less about the Cavs. Figure it out. You know what your problems are on your team, and then every time you guys go on a winning streak, you let that distract away from the fact that those problems have always existed. Just grow up. It's what is it? Insanity is
doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah, and that's I think they'll get to that point where they have to look in the mirror and be like, you know what, maybe I should be in a straitjacket with the way I run this team.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one. The Clippers, but it's still the same, right? Paul George has still not signed a contract extension, and now I'm starting to see the old pictures of him in different jerseys with other teams forming big threes next season. So that's one thing that's gonna be interesting to watch. Come back to the Cavs. First round last season, it felt like I was watching Donovan Mitchell when he was on the Utah Jazz. When things got rough, when things got difficult in the series, I'll commend him. He's not a guy that quits. He doesn't quit. The problem with him is he doesn't quit, but he wants to win so bad that he lets the wanting to win so bad. He believes he's the only person that can win it. So he goes out there and he begins to, as Jed said, chuck shots. You can't go from averaging 18, 19 shots a game. Actually, probably, I think 17 shots per game in the regular season to all of a sudden, come playoff series, you're averaging 24, 25. with a Darius Garland there, what I will give the excuse to for last season's playoff first round, they didn't have many shooters. But I just don't think I'd see a situation in which he doesn't revert back to what he is come playoff time, which is when things will get tough, he doesn't quit. But he just wants to win so bad. He just thinks he's the only one that can get it done. And the team that they have around him, they've added shooters, obviously Georges Niang, Max Strus. I still don't like it though. I don't like,
but
Georges Niang.
Those two players have delivered. There was that little stretch where what was it? Max Strus, or how do you say his name?
Max Strus,
yeah. Hit 5 from 5 threes in the fourth quarter. Really brought them back into that game. They beat the Mavs, and then Niang had that game where he 7 from 7 in the fourth quarter. So when those players are trusted, was that Dean Wade? Yeah. Well, that
against Celtics.
Yeah, that puts me to sleep, that team. But what I was going to say is literally when they've been given the opportunity, they can succeed. He also doesn't have the passing game of some of these other players that have relied on their shots when they've gone ball dominant. He doesn't have the passing game to bail himself out if he does get too chuck heavy. That's his one kind of letdown. And he's also a tier below all those other guys who play hero ball in the playoffs that have had success, like the likes of Dame Lillard. I feel like and Donovan Teddy probably thinks he's better than Dame Lillard, but I don't think he's ever kind of reached that level that Dame reached in Portland.
Yeah, Dame made it out the first round with a team that, I mean, he had some pretty decent teams. I won't lie to you. He had LaMarcus Aldridge. Donovan Mitchell had a better team probably in Utah. Didn't make it past the first round or second round.
They did once.
So yeah. But with that team, it feels you're just committing to the wrong players. As we've seen, we talked about it before. They've got Mobley and Allen, who Brian Windhorst said it's the worst shooting front court in the NBA. Probably really not even that close. The reason why Cat and Gobert work as two twin towers is because Cat is a generational 3-point shooter. Is he the greatest 3-point shooting big man? I don't know yet, past Dick, but we'll see. But still, that's what allows that twin towers to work. Twin towers with Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. This isn't 1995. This isn't 1999 with Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Twin towers doesn't work with two guys that can't shoot. You need one person to be perimeter oriented, especially this modern day NBA.
Wasn't Mobley drafted as someone that was like a stretch big, that someone that could spread the floor and shoot the 3 ball when he was open?
I think that's what they thought he was going to be, because all the comparisons of him coming in was he's the next Kevin Garnett. If he figures it out, if he gets a shot, he's going to be next Kevin Garnett. But the thing is, he just doesn't have the motor of a Kevin Garnett. I still think he plays too relaxed and lackadaisical sometimes. I always compare guys to like a Giannis. I just go out there and effort,
Play hard, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Mobley has that sort of motor. He kind of reminds me of Anthony Davis, where it's one game you're watching with his motor, you're like, man, gosh, if he played like this every single game with this sort of motor, or Kevin Garnett could do that every single game. That's why when he was on the Timberwolves, they didn't have a great team, but they always did well. So you can't compare him to Kevin Garnett. He doesn't have the motor. He still hasn't developed that jump shot, and he's in year 3 or 4 now, and it doesn't look like he's made any sort of strides. I think free throws, he's still terrible. Remember in the clutch, he's awful last season. Jump shot, 3-point shooting, I think he's probably, is it him? I think he's the worst shooter with a certain amount of attempts. I think he's only made like 7 or 17, and he's shooting like 21.8%. Awful.
Yeah, I feel like you just cash in because you're going to get a good return from Mobley. Like, the upside is huge. He's delivered a lot. Like, he's a great draft pick at the end of the day. Like, just really good player.
The Wizards would probably give up the number 1 overall pick to get him.
You reckon? Nah,
surely not. Surely they cannot be that dumb. I hope they're not that dumb. Fingers crossed. I hope they're not that dumb. But yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see if the Cavs can figure it out. See if the Clippers can figure it out. I think we've talked far enough about the Clippers. Then we'll see if they can. Yeah, we'll see what they can do. But something else in the NBA as well, guys. Hasn't come out as an official thing, but it's from the eye test. We can all see it now. There's been a change in officiating by the referees. We've seen that there's been a decrease in scoring before, I think, the All-Star break. I think from 2017 or 2016 up until pre-All-Star game, there'd only been like 2 games, I'm pretty sure, that had teams score in 70 points, like 70 points in a game, like both teams. It's happened like 5 times over the last couple of weeks. So it's pretty insane stat. And it comes down to the referees allowing guys to play defense now. They're not just blowing the whistle or anything. If you initiate contact, they're, a little bit more, nah, we're not going to give you that one. And it's actually allowed us to see some pretty interesting games. It's not as crazy high scoring. There's been 5 points less per game. So we're making some strides there, which is something that we were complaining about, saying that was getting way too, tilted to the offense. So what's your thoughts on this as we kind of go forward? Do you think this is good, especially going to playoff time? I know there's a few players that we've talked about. Jed, you can probably start here because one of the players that me and Trey have talked about is, Shea. If the foul calls don't come, will we still be successful? But for the league as a whole, do you think guys are going to struggle? Less calls, less fouls being blown and called their way.
Well, our players going to struggle? Yeah, a little bit, but I think they're good. Like, it's crazy because like the foul calls benefit those really good players, but then at the end of the day, the really good players adapt, and that's why they get the good foul calls, and that's why they're able to be so lethal. So I think in the short term, yeah. But then those good players are going to be back to being great, or there might just be a little bit of drop off in consistency because they're not going to be able to rely on getting to the foul line. So on some of their quieter days, they might have some worse shooting numbers. But yeah, I think it's good for the league. It's good for defenses as well, making teams really, really actually have to like be really good on both ends of the floor. And yeah, who doesn't? Well, I wouldn't say I love the 70-point games, but yeah, it's so good to see a lot more games around that 100 mark. Well, what did I say in the group chat the other day? There was like 8 teams in one day that scored under 105 points, which is just wild. Yeah, it's nice to see it smooth over a little bit before going to the playoffs. Yeah, well, everyone just loves to see competitive basketball at the end of the day, and I think one thing it does show. Adam Silver's listening. He's always out there actively trying to make the game better. Sometimes it doesn't work perfectly in the favor of the fans, but they're willing to accept their losses and go back and review things and change it. So yeah, huge fan, and just love to see P's favorite commissioner go to work and do some good stuff.
It's good to see. The 130s and the 140s aren't the greatest to watch really because it's a lot of blow bys and easy wide open layups and stuff. This is good. I'd like to see Embiid play with the recent changes. See if he's still see if he'll still get those tinny calls that he always gets. They're cracking down on I see still a lot of offensive fouls though. I've been noticing.
That still rewards the defensive player a lot of the time when a player's drawing a charge. Like you can't just run and bowl into the restricted area, or into the paint, and just expect to get a foul.
Not like drawing charges, like just like using like their off arm, like they actually like calling it an offensive foul rather than a defensive foul, which is good to see because Jalen Brunson, you're a little shit. Stop pushing with your off arm.
He's a little guy though, little guy. Yeah, but also like that and like carrying the ball. You know how they're calling a lot of those calls this year. It's kind of good just to get sloppy play out. Like you don't need to do that stuff. You're just doing it because you're lazy.
100%. But I do like that. This is what you needed for the league. This is just nice change. I saw that it's a nice little stat here that before the All-Star break, there was 29 teams shooting more than 20, well, averaging 20 plus free throws a game. The only team that wasn't averaging 20 plus free throws a game was the Charlotte Hornets. Post All-Star break, only 13 teams averaging 20 plus free throws a game. So it shows you now that there's less. Yeah, this is just allowing people to actually get the opportunity to play defense without getting so much whistleblowing and just giving us these just soft fouls where you're just not allowing a guy to really get in and be in that chair, be in front of a guy, block him off, not allow him the ability to get to the basket. And it's nice to watch. Obviously, there's some games in there, the 70-point ones, which I'm like, oh, okay, this is a little bit bad, but it's good. You want to see competitive basketball, especially going into the playoffs. Playoffs is where that's where it's nitty gritty. They really hold off blowing the whistle come playoff time. But it's nice to see Shea. Obviously I roasted him a little bit, but he's still been actually the same Shea, even with the less foul calls and stuff coming his way. It's still been sort of the same Shea. So
Yeah,
you could see the
shooting more
same
threes though.
adapting come playoff time. Was that sorry?
He's shooting more threes now though, which
Ah.
is kind of like a little bit of a shift in his game. I don't know whether it's gearing up for just preparing for playoff time when they might need more threes, like and they're just getting him to shoot more. But yeah, he has kind of transitioned into more threes. But he's a guy who's going to shoot like above 50% from the field, kind of regardless whether he's getting foul calls or not.
Which what you need from your star. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the NBA wanted to crack down on all the 20-point lead games being blown. Because what has there been, like 35 games this season where teams have blown a 20-plus point lead? And then you go back 15 years ago, or 20 years ago, and there's only 5 games in the season where a 20-point lead is blown. Like,
Yeah,
a 20-point lead isn't safe.
one of the I think it was the Clippers' old announcer used to talk about this thing. I'm pretty sure it was the Clippers announcer, and it was the 100-point rule that they used to have in the NBA. It's like
Yeah.
the first team to 100, the first to 100 used to win 99% of the time, and that is just not a thing anymore. It's much like the 20-point lead. Normally, I bet it would have been 99.9% of those games are won, but now, yeah, it's dropped. There was an ESPN article the other day that they're like 20 is the new 12. So like in comparison, a 12-point lead back then is, yeah, now pretty much just that's a 20-point lead is the same as that.
You could come back so easily, but it's gonna be interesting with the less foul calls. It becomes very interesting on these big comebacks. Obviously, I know the big comebacks have veered a lot towards threes, but when you're able to draw a lot of fouls, right, that means the clock's not moving. We're going to the line. That means that's time that's not lost on the clock. So when you're coming back up and down the court, you still have that time. Whereas now, less foul calls, even though you're launching up threes, you're not getting the opportunity to maybe chuck as many of those up. But I'm very fascinated to see it come play. I like that it's happened this early because for a lot of players, I think for teams, it actually is probably beneficial because I think they said today, if the teams actually kind of like this because first of all, it allows you to do what they want to do, play defense. And I think going to playoff time, you're already seeing the sort of intensity, not to the same level, but you're seeing somewhat of that intensity that you're going to face come playoff time. And if you can face with it, and if you can face it now and deal with it now, prepares you nicely to playoff time when the whistles aren't coming
It just
too
comes
much.
down to
You can be good to go.
adaptability. Yeah, adaptability. It's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like that's where coaches earn their value, and that's where like if you're able to adapt and play. But it comes down to the players being adaptable as well.
That's why the big players get the big time players get paid the big bucks, So you love to see it. Meanwhile, on the other side, there's some players low key that have been. I saw that little graph. I love always seeing that graph that you see on the memes. The player with all the hype, the production's low, and then the vice versa, hype is low, the production is high. So got me thinking, fellas. Who this season is your underrated player and who is your overrated player? Starting with Trey. Trey, you can't say Paul George. You can't say because I know you're Paul George, but you can't say it. You think of someone else, please.
Mine's just changed today watching the Kings game. Sabonis, you're
Overrated?
a bum. Overrated. He is a bum.
You stole my pick. Okay, yeah.
Okay, now I'll change it. Halliburton, you're a bum.
Okay, I think his is a little bit injury related, and his was more also like a coming of age. Like he like leveled up and then he got injured and he's kind of went back down. But yeah, I'll be quiet. You're talking.
No, just I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see Halliburton no look pass. He looks and then he throws the ball and then he looks away. How's it a no look pass? Someone tell me. But yeah, Halliburton, he's up to his injury, and when was that? Like December, he was unreal, but he's just fell off a bit, especially with Siakam there. They're not winning the games that they should be. They did beat the Thunder the other day though, which is a good win, but you need to see it on a more consistent basis. Yeah, he's probably my overrated pick for the year. Jordan Poole's up there too, but
I don't think anyone rates.
Yeah,
I like roasting the Wizards, but I'll be real. I don't think anyone's really rating Jordan Poole at the moment.
And then who's your overrated? Oh no, underrated. Sorry.
Underrated? Ooh, it's tough. Desmond Bain, you don't hear much about him. He's a
Yeah, he returned
real
today.
pro.
He was
What's
out for
that?
a long time. I feel like he had in the beginning when he was playing, he was on point. He was well on his way to having a really pretty good season. Obviously, they wouldn't have been in a playoff spot, but he was on his way to having a really good season. So that's a good pick for being underrated. Yeah, even though he was injured for a little bit, but I'll give you that. I'll give you that. How about you,
Yeah.
Jed? Who you got?
Underrated was someone I talked about earlier, Jonathan Isaac. For the reasons I said earlier, I feel like just the amount of impact that he can have in a short amount of time on the court, and it's also good for his progression going forward because they're having him on a minutes restriction this year because I don't even think it's related to. Well, it is related to injuries, but I don't think it's related to like a proper recovery. It's more just a precautionary thing. Just because like with the injury history he's had, there's no point risking it. So like underrated this year, had a really good impact. No one's talking about him at all. I reckon most people don't even realize he's playing until they play against the Magic. And then just next year it's gonna be huge if he can get some more minutes. They'll be really start to have that team to come together. And then overrated, probably. Oh yeah, I'm a huge advocate of calling this guy overrated for a long time. Donovan Mitchell. I don't know. I just don't buy it. I've never really bought Donovan Mitchell stock. I just feel like he's a glorified star who gets talked about in the same like kind of stratosphere as all these like all NBA first team guys. And I've never really been a huge fan of him as like anyone who's like a top 15, 20 player. I think he's just that tier below, and I just don't really like the way he plays. I just don't think it's gonna take a team to the level that people expect it to. Or if I was going to throw a different name out there, De'Aaron Fox probably.
Oh, that's a pretty nice pick because I feel like he gets a lot of praise for being very inconsistent sometimes, and he gets put in a lot of upper echelons that I don't think he belongs in. Like they try to put him in that conversation with the Tatum and Edwards, SGA, Booker and Luca, and I was like, what? Tatum probably is low key in that group of figures, probably one of the frauds, but no, Fox isn't in there. He's in that tier B alongside Donovan Mitchell for me.
To me, I think Deuce is a bigger star than Tatum.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Deuce Tatum.
Oh, the one in the bottom of the toilet.
Bingo.
Yeah.
For me, I've got my overrated, very easy pick. Obvious as day. Don't think he does. He's just come on, man. Sabonis. I don't let the double doubles for you. Don't let the triple doubles for you. They don't for me. They for sure don't for me. He's on my fantasy team. I love having on my fantasy team the stats he produces. He does his thing, but the way that he plays does not travel. In the NFL, they have a thing where if a team has a really good defense, they say your defense travels wherever you're going to go. That defense is going to carry you. So Bonus's game does not travel. He travels, but his game does not travel.
Is it also just other players on the team leading him down at the end of the day? Like
Nah,
Fox is overrated.
it's him, bro. I feel like he's just the way that he scores. It's not actually. He just tries to play bully ball all the time. It's doesn't work for me, and it comes back to what I was saying. I think 2 or 3 episodes ago, where it's the whole season, the whole time from when they lost the Warriors in the playoffs last season to now or whatever when the season started. I said the one thing I wanted to see from Sabonis was is he going to develop a jump shot? Bam Adebayo, the Heat lost to the Lakers in the 2020 NBA Finals. Bam Adebayo realized I got exposed because all I was doing was kind of going to the basket and it was getting difficult because I was having to go inside all the time. Going against AD, difficult. If I can develop a jump shot, I open things up for myself. That allows me to open up my game even more and become better. Ups the scoring for the last 2-3 seasons. Sabonis, this is just come on, bro. You had the whole offseason. There was videos of you working with Chris Brickley. We've seen you come back. You haven't developed a jump shot. It still feels like you're playing the exact same ball basketball, which, okay, cool. That can work against guys who aren't, big time. But if you're going up against some of the top tier guys, like, dude, that's not going to work. And you're not really developing the things that you need to develop. And you can't just rely on always, getting other guys involved. You sometimes need to be the guy that scores. Be aggressive and you score, but you don't have the ability. And I just think he's overrated because people see 10 points, 25 rebounds, 17 assists and go, oh my God. I'm looking at the 10 points and how they came. And he's shooting like 4-13. That's what I'm looking at. So he's my overrated player, my underrated. What are you going to say, sorry?
was crazy. As a rookie, he was a stretch big. So
Yeah.
like,
Where's it
it's just
gone?
wild how like he has the potential. I think he was like close to a 40% 3-point shooter. I'll have to check the facts on that, but as a rookie, I don't really know why he went away from it.
Maybe it's the hand injuries, that he's had during these last, not multiple, but I think he had one major one where he had surgery on his hand. I think it was a broken hand. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But if he can come back to where that Sabonis was when he played with Westbrook in 2017, okay, now I can see the Kings making a splash or the Kings, being better. But for now, he's my overrated player. And my underrated player, spoke about him before, on the Orlando Magic, even though he's the number one pick, Paolo Banchero. I think he's just been flying under the radar, not getting enough attention. Maybe because he's in the same conference as Giannis and them, he probably won't make. I struggle to see him making an All NBA team. Yeah, I struggle to see him making an All NBA team, but I think that's maybe why he's flying under the radar and Orlando's not. Yeah, they're never really talked about by the media. But I think Paolo's having a really good season.
He's having a great season. Yeah.
Another underrated player is Anthony Simons. I swear that
Yeah.
guy can go out and give you 30 whenever he wants. He's a bit of a flamethrower.
He's a true flamethrower.
He can start launching. When he starts launching, he's hitting. He can play pretty well. We can keep throwing some underrated players out there, bro. Kobe White playing nice for the Bulls. He's been good. He's probably on his way to winning Most Improved.
Oh, yeah.
Jalen Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Actually. Oh, yeah, Jalen Johnson. Yep.
Yeah.
He's having a hell of a season right now.
From like no minutes last season or whatever to, or maybe it was like no minutes in his rookie season, and then he started getting a couple last year. And now he's turned into like the second best player, pretty much.
Jalen Johnson is what I wanted Big O to become, but Jalen Johnson has just carried the flag as the guy for the Hawks who's going to step up and be that number two guy.
Big O, and you meant Obi Toppin, the guy you thought was the next best thing.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the best thing since sliced bread, and he's let me down so bad. Bust, man. What a bust.
This guy right here is him.
Yeah, I was telling everyone before. I said, bro, this guy won the Wooden Award. He's got next. And I'm sitting here 4 or 5 years later. I'm like, yeah, I got played. Just like I got played by Killian Hayes. Yeah.
It's so hard. It's so hard to pick.
Oh, life is tough, man. But yeah, some good overrated, underrated picks. Who else? Any other overrated players for anyone else? Any other overrated guys that you think too much attention? Too much attention for what you actually do.
Oh, I don't know. There's some names you could throw out there that like overrated. Yeah, Tatum, but like he's still a really good player. I'd probably put I had someone on the tip of my tongue, Doncic or whatever. I feel like I just like to see a little bit more team success wise.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying slightly overrated. I'm not saying like I would go out on a limb and go a rant that he's overrated, but just want to see a little bit more team success. Also, probably an underrated player this year. Kyrie's kind of floating under the radar. Is like he's been pretty solid for them.
Yeah. He's in that point where it's because there's always such a high expectation for him. People kind of just, or maybe it's because he's playing with Luka. That's probably why everyone's only paying attention to Luka and all the 30-point triple doubles. You actually forget Kyrie's had some pretty good games in there where he's had 25, 27, 29. Like he's been playing pretty well, but obviously when you're playing the guy 30-point triple double, it's hard to get attention.
100%.
He passes too.
Yeah, I know. He gets 6 assists, but no one talks about it. Like, damn, show some love to him, man.
Yeah, you can't forget the 2K GOAT Corey Kispert.
Oh yeah,
super underrated. Yeah, super underrated.
Not overrated, but not really rated at all. Actually, no. I got 2 guys. Tobias Harris. First of all, guys, this guy's 32 years old. Please stop talking about him like he's like a young star that's going to fulfill his potential or destiny or some shit. He's not. It's done. I feel like every single year people hold out hope and say, man, if Tobias Harris can figure it out, the 76ers are going to... It's like, bro, he's had 5 years to figure it out. Hasn't figured it out. Can we stop trying to put this light out like he's a 22, 23-year-old guy? He's 32, nearly 33. Like, the ship has sailed. This is who he is. He's not that guy.
Also, fun fact for you. I was reading today. His scoring averages have actually decreased since Joel Embiid's got injured.
Man. And Kelly Oubre has been the one who's had to step up. So it's like this is your contract year. You've busted it, man. You've let yourself down, bro.
Kelly Oubre is playing well just for him to be playing for a different team next year for unknown reasons.
Yeah. But
Because
he's
only
guy.
on a 1-year deal, Kelly Oubre.
I don't know, but he is that guy who just always, no matter how good he plays somewhere, I felt you're just always going to see him on a different team.
he's like Jeff Green.
Fair.
He might be this next generation's Jeff Green, where he's always going to be on a really good team, but he might not yet get those multi-year, 3-4 year deals that we believe that he's got the potential to get, just purely because he's every single year a different team needs what he can provide. Hope not, because I do like Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty good basketball player.
Shut up, my boy. But we have some optimism, some positive stuff. Jed Mitchell is here with trivia this week. Fun stuff on the way because everyone has got a win now on the board. Ethan finally got a win last episode, so the standings are Trey, myself, and Jed are all tied with three wins, and Ethan's on the board with one. That's very sus because how on earth did he get Dave Collins? But Jed is here with another trivia for us, man.
Yeah, I don't think any of us should have ever guessed Collins, but if it was going to go to anyone, I'm glad it went to our little our friend Ethan, who has struggled royally with the quizzes to date. But yeah, exciting quiz today, but a little bit bittersweet because whoever wins this quiz passes me on the leaderboard. So it's a bit tough to do. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one today. Hopefully you guys are good, quick thinkers for this. So how it will work, you guys just first person to answer. For the first one, you both say an answer, and then from there on out, first person to answer, can take the points there. Okay, so first up, St. Patrick's Day quiz. St. Paddy's Day today, so a little bit of a St. Paddy's theme for the first question. St. Patrick's Day, an Irish thing. Ireland, have they ever had an NBA player?
Yes.
No.
They have. They've had one NBA player. So that's 1 point to P. Bonus point.
I just have to go for the opposite.
Bonus point if you guys can guess who the Irish-born NBA player was.
What was it? Was it? What can you tell us? What era first, and then we could go to what era or no?
I have absolutely no clue.
Okay, I'm gonna say, Michael McLaughlin.
It's not bad. That's not bad. Guess.
Brian O'Driscoll.
Well, technically, Trey did name an Irish player. No, so still 1 point to P, no points to Trey. Pat Burke, the only Irish-born NBA player, played I think 2 or 3 seasons in NBA, about 280 odd games. Yeah, I think he scored 480 odd points in the NBA. So really solid showing for Ireland there, but surprising, only one Irish-born NBA player. Okay, then next up, I've got a question. So this is going to show you guys NBA knowledge, really. There was a rule change to the playoff format and how the seeding was done. So it used to be the top of every division would be the top 3 seeds in each conference. Or am I doing top 4 seeds? They might have redone the divisions there. But what year did they make that change?
2017.
When
2017, right? I'm pretty sure it was 2017.
I'll let Trey answer.
Nah. Oh. When did they go from 5 playoff games to 1990?
Nah, 2016.
Oh.
So
I knew it was one of. I was just trying, bro.
Yeah, you're close.
Wait, what? So
they changed it because it used to be if you won your division, you automatically were one of the top 3 seeds. But they changed it because it was like, bro, some of these teams was like, I think for example, the Southwest Division was just the Mavs, the Spurs, were also good one season, and the Grizzlies were also good one season, and they finished so low because someone else got to finish third, some ridiculous shit like that.
Yeah, so like this year it'd be quite interesting. I think the Nuggets would be the Timberwolves would be the 5th seed this year if we still had those rules. Which brings me to my next question. So we're gonna go 1 for 1 here. No. What I'm gonna do? P, you're gonna do the East. Trey, you're gonna do the West. Who would be the top 3 seeds in those conferences if these rules still applied? Okay, so you're not allowed to search out the divisions or conferences. You just got to know it off the top of your head. So it's testing your NBA knowledge of the divisions.
I'm doing West.
Yeah, so I've got the Celtics. Yes, I got Celtics. Easy.
What division? I'm not going to give you an extra point for it. I'm not going to give you an extra point for it. I just want to know if you know it.
Oh my God.
So possible 3 points. 3 points up for grabs here.
The Atlantic Division.
Yeah, it is the Atlantic Division.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
That's the only one I'm going to
get. Who would be the 2nd seed?
Oh, Trey, you can go for this one while I'm thinking of.
No, it's East.
Oh, East.
If you yeah.
So you got the Bucks, 2nd right now. Cavs. Bucks. Bucks would be still a top seed. They're in different division than the Celtics, aren't they? Yeah. Bucks would be 2nd seed.
That is correct. What division?
I'm gonna say Pacific is the other side. Is it the south east?
No.
I tried.
Okay. And then 3rd seed. Who would be the 3rd seed in the East?
I think the Knicks and the thing in the same division, right? Well, Bucks are in the same division too. So it would be. Oh, hold on. Wouldn't it be the Orlando Magic?
It would be 3 from 3. Congrats, you're on 4 points. So, which almost kind of eliminates Trey from this, but just to test Trey's knowledge, we'll let him back in. We might do a bonus point question at the end to see if we can make this a little bit more interesting. So, in the West, who would be the top 3 seeds?
Denver Nuggets. Is it Midwest?
It's Northwest, and currently as it stands. No, you're wrong for the first one, by the way. You're wrong for the first one.
What? The number 1 seed?
They would be the 4th seed, according to right now, due to a tiebreaker.
So, what? Don't the Thunder have the same? Or are they the same record as the Thunder?
The Thunder has the tiebreaker.
Midwest.
So that would be Thunder would be the 1st seed for just because you mentioned that. No, so who would be the 2nd seed? And that's the Northwest.
Oh, Northwest. Timberwolves.
No. So the Nuggets, Thunder, and Timberwolves are all in the same conference, in the same division.
Yeah. I'll get the hell out of here. Clippers.
The Clippers would be the 2nd seed. So technically you don't get a point because you got it wrong. And who would be the 3rd seed?
This is the easiest one. Surely, if you don't know this one, come on, bro. This is the easiest one.
Phoenix Suns.
No,
same division as the Clippers. Same thing as the Kings are. It would be the Pelicans.
It is the Pelicans.
Oh.
Yeah. Trey does not know his division. That is a clean.
I have no idea what.
Yeah, but
I couldn't even tell you the name of the divisions, man.
Yeah, because I knew you'd have better knowledge of the East and P would have better knowledge of the West, so I tried to mix it up. But so that's tough. So as it stands right now, the West would be OKC, Clippers, Pelicans, and then it would be Nuggets, and then Timberwolves in the 5th seed. So that would mean literally how it works, like not getting that 1st seed could be the difference between you getting the 1st and 5th seed for that division. Wild.
That's cool.
Is that how it always was?
Yeah. Up to they've chopped and changed it a few times. Like they changed it slightly, but up till 2016. I think from like 2006 to 2016 they had those rules.
Glad they changed it. Needed it. Holy.
Yeah.
And what? Do we have another question, or was that it?
Nah, I was going to do a bonus extra one there if I could think of one if it was close, but it wasn't close. So P, you get the dub. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries.
Wait.
Put him in the. That was a toughie, low key. As soon as I got the Bucks, I went, okay, I think I'm gonna figure this out for the third one.
I'm surprised you got the Magic. I'm surprised you got the Magic because that's a bit of a jump for them.
Yeah, because the only reason I guessed the Magic because I knew the Knicks are either in the same division as the Celtics or the Bucks. So I was like, okay, nah, it has to be the Magic because Magic are in 5th right now. So straight away I knew. I was like, okay, I'm good to go. But that's a toughie trade. I thought surely you would get the Suns when he said I thought you'd get the Pelicans because the Suns, Clippers, Lakers, all them are all in the same thing. Warriors all in the same thing.
I don't know. The Suns are in the Lakers one.
Yeah,
that is fair because like you know yeah. But yeah, tough though. Puts a spotlight on how hard some of these divisions are because as it stands currently, you play 4 games. You play guaranteed 4 games every year against teams in your division. So in the West, if you're in that Northwest division, you've got a guaranteed 1 extra really tough game. Well, yeah, 2 extra really tough games. Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah,
man. Well, shout out. Thank you for the freaking quiz, man. That's some good stuff. Well, if you can do better than us, please let us know. Please answer the questions as you listen to the podcast. Would love to see how you guys do. But that's another episode 16 of the Dunk Dynasty Podcast in the books. Table updated. I'm sitting first place solely now. Thank gosh. But thank you, fellas. Thanks for coming through. Thank you, everyone, again for the support. We really appreciate it. We're back again next time, episode 17. Ethan, hopefully, will be back. Thank you. Catch you on the next one.
Yo, shout out Pat Burke. Happy St. Paddy's Day.